talking about, how do we notice if someone is going away from God and wanting to go towards that life of sin?
Well, I think most of us are probably going to get together, in fellowship. They're going to get together at the church if you're talking about the youth group, right?
Yeah.
And if you start to see, if you have somebody that is sitting in the front row worshiping, and that's where they are, that's where you know they're going to be. But then you may come the next week or the next month, and you don't see them on the front row anymore. You kind of see them maybe 2 rows back. And then you start to see them maybe moving a little bit farther. They're not as quick to go to the altar. They're not as quick to lift their hands. They're not as quick to worship God. And you start having fellowship outside of church, and they're not as quick to come. You start to see a slow fade of them phasing away. And I think at that particular moment, it's critical that we start to engage and try to figure out what's going on. And that's the job of a youth pastor, truthfully. Not the job of every youth person, every youth, but that's the job of a youth pastor. That's and then friends, that's where we bring in that net when we start to notice that someone's kind of slipping away. We want them to know that we love them and we want to support them. And that's where we kind of come into the conversation that we just had with that last question.